Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker sat next to his good friend Chancellor Palpatine, observing the Mon Calamari ballet performance, unaware that he was being drawn away from the Jedi and into the trappings of the Sith. As Palpatine began to increase Anakin's doubts about his allegiance to the Council, he used Anakin's nightmares about Padme to his advantage, telling the story of how Darth Plagueis could influence midichlorians to prevent others from dying, which was what Anakin wanted to hear. As they walked to the centre of the Galactic City, another piece of Palpatine's plan came together, as Anakin's closest Jedi companion Obi-Wan departed for Utapau, and he was left to dwell on his doubts without his master. After receiving a report that Obi-Wan had engaged with General Grievous' forces on Utapau, Anakin is again left alone with Palpatine, who finally reveals that he was the Sith Lord that the Jedi had been looking for, and pleads with Anakin to use his knowledge to save Padme. Full of conflict, Anakin returns to the Jedi Temple, and there he informs Mace Windu of the revelation, but to the annoyance of the Jedi Knight, he is told to remain at the temple and stay away from the confrontation. The lack of trust from Windu would be the downfall of the Jedi Master, as Anakin disobeyed the order and chose to save Palpatine by slicing off the Jedi Master's hand, sealing his transformation to the dark side. But what if Anakin had gone to Padme instead of Windu? Could she help him away from the path of the dark side? As you will discover, a lot could have been different. Anakin raised his lightsaber, scarcely believing what he was hearing from Palpatine. The Supreme Chancellor just revealed that he knew about the dark side of the Force, and Anakin could end the war now. But thinking about the fate of Padme, and what should be the proper procedure, he lowered his blade and he tells Palpatine he would report the development to the Council. But as he left the Chancellor's office, he received a transmission on his comlink from Padme, and Anakin deviated from his initial plan to go to her apartment instead. The Jedi landed by a veranda, and the heavily pregnant senator rushes to greet Anakin, but stops as she sees Anakin completely ashen-faced and quivering. The Jedi reveals the unbelievable events he had just been a part of, and Padme is hesitant to go straight to the Council, knowing Anakin would not react well to the idea. Padme reassures Anakin that she was perfectly safe, but the Jedi wants proof, so they go to the medical facility to perform preliminary checks. After the medical droids are able to prove Padme and her children would be safe, Anakin breathed a sigh of relief, then remembered that a Sith Lord was on the loose. Anakin ran off to the temple, reporting to Windu that Grievous had been defeated by Obi-Wan, and Palpatine was the Sith Lord they had been looking for. The Jedi Master no longer sensed conflict within Anakin, and along with 3 other council members, they sought to bring an end to the Reign of Terror. But as they opened the doors to the Chancellor's office, the usually occupied seat was empty, as Palpatine had sensed Anakin's change in mood. The Jedi instruct the Coruscant police and Jedi investigators to perform a worldwide search, but they knew that he would have left the planet by now. Anakin headed back to the medical center, and even more shockingly, Padme was missing. The Jedi Knight cannot contain his anger at Palpatine, shaking the entire building, until he's stopped by Windu. The Master beckoned Anakin inside the Jedi Temple, and gathered a meeting with the rest of the Council to deal with the absent politicians. Anakin wanted to hunt down Palpatine, but the Jedi decide to go to the Senate building and first deprive Palpatine of his political power. The Senate is free as separatists, all of whom have been dispatched to Mustafar, and the Jedi make their case and present their evidence of Palpatine's corruption and his role in the capture of Senator Amidala. The senators ascend into uproar, all of them annoyed at such an evil being, allowed to rule the galaxy for the duration of the war, and immediately vote to remove him of his powers. A temporary replacement of Senator Bail Organa is also brought in to be the Supreme Chancellor, and he uses his new control over the clone army to arm Palpatine, who was now acting against the interests of the Republic. Anakin is still terrified of the fate of Padme and his children, and Windu sensed it too, identifying the marriage between Anakin and Padme. The Jedi Knight turned in shame, and the Karun Master stand back to the temple, discussing this with the Council. All eyes look to Obi-Wan, but the Jedi Master remains guarded, stating that he had had his suspicions, but had no definitive proof of the breach of the Jedi Code. Anakin was soon summoned in front of the Council, and they know that it was too late for him to let go of his attachments, so they would teach him to stay from the path of the dark side. Anakin is grateful to the Council for not expelling him, and now their focus switched to returning Padme, and bringing about an end to the reign of the Sith. Aboard a Republic Venator-class Star Destroyer, Obi-Wan stood on the bridge alone, as all of the clone troopers under his command had been dispatched by Chancellor Bail Organa to hunt for Palpatine. The Jedi Master knew that if the Sith Lord had managed to deceive them for the entire war, he would not be easily found, and finding Padme would be an easier task. The Jedi turned to the large mission briefing area and found the code to Bail Organa, who was currently in his new office. The Alderaanian senator looked at the figure of Obi-Wan when he saw a Republic cruiser hovering into the skyline, and he identified it to be that of Ahsoka Tano's. The Chancellor asks Obi-Wan to return from his position, and perhaps the captured Maul could provide answers to their search. The Jedi Master took great satisfaction in his old foe's demise, but he did not believe he should be the one to interrogate Maul, not wishing to give in to his anger, and summoned Anakin from the temple. This was a welcome distraction for the Jedi Knight, and Anakin is pleased to greet his former Padawan and the 501st Legion on one of Coruscant's docking platforms. The cage of Maul is brought by Commander Rex and several other clone troopers, and they take him to the Republic's military base for Anakin to interrogate. The Jedi intrudes Maul's mind, but as expected, the Zabrak resists the mind trick, and Anakin decides to prey on Maul's hatred for Sidious. The renegade Sith is eager to see his former master fall, even if not at his blade, and tells the Jedi of various locations where Sidious had visited and deposited holocrons, narrowing the search for the Jedi. Leaving Maul to rot in his cell, he is guarded by a group of temple guards. Anakin, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka each enter a starfighter, and approach the lava-laden planet as quickly as possible. The Jedi can feel the presence of darkness choking the air out of the surface, and enter the mining area to search for what they hope to be Palpatine. But as they enter a separatist war room, they find the bodies of many members of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, fallen at the hands of a lightsaber. The central holotable flickered into life with the help of R2-D2, and Sidious's figure appeared from a previous recording, informing that their use had come to a premature end, before arriving to execute them. The Jedi walk further in, and Anakin spots Padme unconscious and on the floor, then spotted that near her was a broken force cage. The Senator of Naboo is revived using their limited medical supplies, and she is relieved to see Anakin. Padme recounts how she had been captured alongside Luke and Leia, then brought to Mustafar in the midst of Sidious's rampage. Trapped in a force field with Luke and Leia, the twins had exhibited their first signs of their powerful potential in the Force, and had broken out of the prison to the anger of the Dark Lord of the Sith. Padme had been stunned by the attack, leaving Sidious to take Luke and Leia to a new location. The inspired defense by Luke and Leia provoked an idea from Anakin, and they hurried back to their ships to leave the horrible planet. But as they leave the atmosphere, they encounter the remains of the Separatist fleet, as the presence of the Jedi had triggered their movements. Without any notable tactics however, the Jedi comfortably weave their way through, before ordering those on Coruscant to complete a demolition of the fleet, then head back to the temple. The exhausted Padme is brought in front of the council, and she recalls the traumatic events once more, before Anakin proposes for the council members to meditate together and search for Luke and Leia. Different visions arise to the Jedi Masters, as some sense other Force-sensitive children, but Grandmaster Yoda locates the most intense presence on the dark side planet of Korriban. This was highly logical to the Jedi, as Sidious would need to corrupt the Skywalker twins to get them to become his future apprentices, but it did not ease Anakin or Padme's concerns. The Jedi gather their remaining Venator-class Star Destroyers, and then the clone troopers, holding them in the military base for a final time. Mace Windu and Master Kenobi stand on top of a platform and give a speech emphasizing the importance of the battle, and to be prepared for anything that could be equipped by the Sith, and the clones roared into life. Anakin's destroyer headed the front of the mighty Republic fleet, and the others were waiting in the wings, as they searched the location of the Republic's last battle. But for Anakin, this would be more than a battle, as this would be the opportunity to start the family he craved. Anakin gave the order to his clone navigational officers, and they made the jump into hyperspace, setting the coordinates for the Outer Rim territories. But as they entered the Horusset system, they encounter a swarm of Nebres, and their large teeth began to tear off some of the more delicate elements of the Republic Venators, in particular cutting off their lines of communication. As he was at the front of the attack, Anakin's destroyers hit the worst, and the alarms began to activate for an evacuation. The organised 501st Legion find their way into Republic low-altitude assault gunships, whilst the Jedi Knight and his Padawan lead the escape in their starfighters. The other Jedi see the attack formation of Anakin and mistakenly believe that they should attack as well, until they watch in horror as the ships are suspended by Palpatine's lightning attack from the planet below. Yoda, who had been performing battle meditation aboard his cruiser, felt the darkness without looking and rushed over to the command bridge. A group of clones gathered to observe the burst of power, and their ships were quickly decreasing in their number. Yoda ran into the hangar just as the lights behind dimmed and faded, then entered his starship. The Jedi Grandmaster bravely dived through the shards of debris and force-pushed the Jedi and clones to safety before going to the surface of the planet and landing in the desolate plains. The dust blew across his face, but he staggered through to speed his way to the Valley of the Dark Lords, finally interrupting Palpatine's frenzy of Sith power. Above the planet, the Republic fleet had taken advantage of Yoda's distraction and had lured in the frozen Republic fleet into one of their destroyers. Thankfully for the Jedi, Anakin and Ahsoka had awoken from Palpatine's attacks alongside their clone troopers. The Jedi managed to recover in time to join the others in a grand assault on the planet and encounter the remainder of the droid army. The droids are no match for the entire Jedi Order, but the delay allows Palpatine to summon a group of Sith warriors, previously hidden in the tombs of the ancient Sith. These lightsaber wielders stun the Jedi, and the clone troopers know that they are no match, as they worked upon an escape route once off of the planet. The Jedi begin to thin, as the Sith begin to feed off of the planet's dark nature and the ghosts of their predecessors, but Anakin and Windu battle through to help the limping Grandmaster Yoda. During the Dark Lord of the Sith, Anakin ignores the taunts of his former friend turned enemy, as he spots Luke and Leia in the midst of an ancient Sith ritual. The Jedi pulls his children from the evil tendrils surrounding them both, and places them in the hands of Rex and Ahsoka to take back to the Republic's medical frigate before joining the battle. Palpatine was fueled by his anger at the loss of his future apprentices, but this only helped Mace Windu reflect the darkness to fuel his attacks, and the Dark Lord of the Sith released one giant burst of energy before fading into nothingness. The Jedi are all lying on their backs, and the surviving clone troopers place their leaders on stretchers to take back to Coruscant. The Jedi gather in the halls of healing, and after a long period of rest, they manage to regain the strength to meet in the Council Tower. There Anakin retained his seat, cradling Luke and Leia as Yoda warned the Council members about how close their order had been to capitulating. Looking at Luke and Leia, the Jedi decide their attachments will be allowed for future generations, not only to produce more Force sensitives, but also to change the rigid Jedi code. Anakin left the council meeting, relieved that he had rescued his children, and entered Padme's office for the first time since his battle on Korriban. The Senate of Naboo was already working, despite a continuous concerned and traumatic event endured under Palpatine, and was happy to be under the leadership of Bail Organa. Anakin and Padme were determined to ensure that the galaxy would be free of such evil for eternity, and they focused upon removing the crime syndicates that Maul had been quietly establishing. The former Sith had not been so compliant after the fall of his master, as he sought to keep all he had left, but the Jedi utilised Palpatine's previously hidden files to bring all of the crime lords to justice, and gradually began to bring an end to slavery. Luke and Leia began to train in the Jedi Temple, under the tutelage of Jedi Masters Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, aiming to emulate everything their father had been, and represent a new era for the Jedi. That is it for What If Anakin talked to Padme after Palpatine revealed he was the Sith. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel for more What Ifs, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.